Previously on SailGP, Portsmouth brought the championship fight closer than ever.
That was so close!
Australia remain on top of the leaderboard, but Spain are right on their heels after 2 wins in a row.
What a race.
Germany found their speed, taking a race win before coming within moments of a capsize.
Oh no! German team!
Now they return to home waters, Sassnitz, home to the fastest speed SailGP has ever seen.
Go over 103!
13 teams, 13 nations, 1 championship. And for the Germany SailGP team presented by Deutsche Bank, this one means more. This is the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix.
For just the second time in 6 seasons, SailGP comes to the port town of Sassnitz, Germany to race on the Baltic Sea in its top-end wind conditions. Huge crowds are anticipated to support the home team and see the world's best sailors compete on the high-tech foiling F-50s. Renowned for its white chalk cliffs and being the gateway to the spectacular Jasmine National Park, Sassnitz is the next host of the European leg of the 2026 season. However, today it's all about keeping your team to the top of your group's leaderboard. Alongside former Emirates GBR athlete Hannah Diamond and Olympian Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris. With just 4 events remaining after this weekend's showdown on the Baltic, the race for a top 3 position is on. The 3-time champion Bonflying Rouge lead the way ahead of second place in the champions of Season 4, Los Gallos, Spain. The newest team in the league, Artemis, hold down third, 2 points clear of the US SailGP team, with the reigning champs, Emirates GBR, rounding out the top 5. If you haven't heard, SailGP has adopted group sailing format. If you missed the action from Portsmouth, here's a quick explanation.
As the F-50 fleet grows, so does the challenge of keeping the racing fast, safe and competitive. That's where group racing comes in. By dividing the fleet into 2 groups, fans get more races, less waiting between starts and more action across the race weekend. Teams are split into Group A and Group B based on results from the previous event. The winner goes into Group A, the next 2 into Group B, then the following 2 back into Group A, an ABBA pattern that keeps both groups evenly matched. The top 2 from each group advance to the 4-boat, winner-takes-all final. 2 groups, 4 finalists, 1 winner.
Well, let's take a look at those groups then, shall we? Group A, Los Gallos, the form team at the moment, but the French, the Swiss, the Danish, the Italians, the Kiwis, and the Brazilians are going to want to get past them. And then Group B, have a look at that, it's loaded. The pressure's on those teams in Group B to get to that final in Abu Dhabi at the end of the season. We're going to start racing today with Group B.
Today's race course is set to be fast and furious. And if the wind comes in as forecast, could we see the speed record being challenged at Mark 1? The start and top gate marks are tucked right up underneath the land, so gusty and shifty conditions for the crews to contend with. I would expect there to be more wind at the bottom of the course compared to the top, so teams that can adapt fast should do well today.
As Stevie mentioned, we'll kick things off with Group B today. Before we do that, we check in with the 4th member of our broadcast team down on the water. Here's Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
Well, things are looking spicy out here in Sassnitz, that's for sure, Todd. Configuration-wise, in the water, we've got the high-speed T-foils. At the back, we've got the high-speed rudders. In the air, the 18-metre wing, so the small wing, and at the front, we've got the middle-sized jib. We're absolutely optimised for a speed record, and we've seen teams push that already in training, so keep your eyes peeled for an official race record. It's been a busy morning for ROCKWOOL Racing. It's been a race against time for them, really. They've had 2 people up the top of their wing trying to replace things, but they've just got out minutes ago, so they should be good to go for Group A after this race.
All right, thank you very much, LD. Much more from you. Precarious situation right there for ROCKWOOL Racing, but the good news is they are out on the water. So as we said, Group B will have honors. It will start off with Artemis, North Star Canada, the US SailGP team, Australia, Germany, and Emirates GBR. So this is a tough one, Hannah, right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's right. And like everyone's been saying, these are top-end conditions. So finding the limit but not pushing past it is going to be super important today.
First manoeuvres in at the pre-start here, 34 seconds to go. It's a very, very small start box, and we can see the dark patches of water moving down there. These gusts are hitting hard. It's like Tyson swinging punches at you in the pre-start. The crews have got to try and judge that. Bottom end of the line, Germany, Deutsche Bank, Emirates GBR are on a tight angle in. They hope to control things here. Bonflying Rouge well positioned at the moment. The wind-up's going to be hard to judge in these conditions. North Star send it in there. Australia are in the middle of the line well positioned. Emirates GBR and Germany look like they push things too tight down at the bottom. Now about acceleration. North Star turns toward the line. Bond's Flying Rouge turn toward the line. Clear start, brilliant out the middle of the line by the Canadians and the Australians. Now watch the top of the wings. This is going to be fast to Mark 1.
Penalty Germany. Boat not keeping clear. Penalty clear.
Oh, it's so windy across here. Australia, faster angle into Mark 1 there. Well set to be fast at this turn.
And at mark number 1, it is the 3-time champions and the overall leaders that go above 90 kilometers an hour, and the Bond's Flying Rouge are off.
A little bit soft at the boundary.
Here we go. This first manoeuvre is going to be so tricky here. You've got to judge the speed of the boat into the manoeuvre.
And turning.
See that dotted line on the screen, Todd? That's where the boundary sits in, 80 metres from the edge of the course. That's where you gain the right of way if you're the boat inside the boundary first. As we see, top of our screen, Artemis and the US SailGP team have manoeuvred away early, and it's very gusty. Look at that dark patch of water on Artemis. Look at the speed.
Working really hard on board there. 93 kilometers in a straight line, super high speeds. US are going to have to make another maneuver to get down to this bottom gate, but it looks like Bond's Flying Rouge will make it straight in for a left turn.
And here come the Bond's Flying Rouge into gate 2, the DP World Gate at 93 kilometers an hour with North Star Canada right behind him. Then it's the US SailGP team in Artemis. And how about this? Spin it around, Tom Slingsby.
Oh, it's got wet on board North Star there. USA turn right. Artemis follow, they turn right as well. Now we're going to learn a lot about the course. 2 boards in on board Artemis there to try and keep a little bit more control. And look how much tighter they've rounded at Mark. Great technique there by the Swedish team. Outridge looking to spin away. Look at that, lovely view of the course there. See the different textures on it, Todd? The darker bits, the lighter bits. That's what the crews are trying to use to read the breeze out there. And we can see there's a lot of wind starting to move down the course.
Not the best start for the home team. Germany by Deutsche Bank sit in last place with Emirates GBR just in front of them. There's 4 boats out in front, having a great battle here on the Baltic. Let's go down on the water, check in with Lisa Darman. And Lisa, is there a favored side right now? Stevie's talked about it being very puffy and shifty. What are you seeing?
I don't think that's necessarily a favoured side. It really depends what shift you're in. So we're seeing 30-degree changes in the wind, which can make you sail way less distance. But as you also see, it's so patchy. So, you know, a team about 100 metres away from you can be in completely different breeze. But I think minimising manoeuvres when it's really top end like this also helps minimise mistakes. So there's a lot to think about out here.
Yeah, I mean, to Lisa's point, we can see the ground here. A beautiful venue in Sassnitz, but the wind's coming over that shoreline. And of course, that doesn't only change the strength of it, it does change the direction. So for people watching at home, see the angle the boats are hitting our ladder lines there. If they're going more straight up the course, that's going to mean you're on a good wind shift. If you're sailing parallel to those ladder lines, then it means you're not doing very well. Right now, probably quite an even wind shift on the course.
This is one of the wider courses we've seen, so there is the opportunity for boats to split quite far apart. That can be great, it means you can get the boat right up to speed, but it means that there's an element of having to choose that right side to make sure you're coming back on a good angle that's taking you closest to the next gate mark.
Well, speaking of good angles, as they approach gate number 3, it is the Bond's Flying Rouge that seem to have a great angle, Stevie. They're going to have the pick of the litter. Which side are they going to go for, left or right?
I suspect they'll take the right turn, Todd, in under the fans, but it's going to need quite an early manoeuvre here. We see Artemis and North Star are going to be tight, bottom of our screen. Top of the screen, the USA. I thought it'd be risky to go in there because you're right under the grandstand, right under the shore, but at the moment, looks like it's netted out as a little gain at the moment.
And Emirates GBR's also got back into the mix as they start to close in on Artemis. They currently show in 5th place, moving into 4th could be a thing here before they get to gate 3. At gate 3, though, it is the Bond's Flying Rouge, overall leaders on season 6 that have the lead, and their speed hits 94 kilometers an hour. Late decision there by Taylor Canfield of the USA as they decide to go right as well, but it'll be Giles Scott that'll dip underneath. They'll have the right away. They'll hold on to 2nd.
Yeah, you can almost see from that helicopter angle, as we can see, look at how hectic this manoeuvre is. Yeah, look at this camera angle. You see how it almost looks skewed? That right-hand turn they're taking kind of looks like it's a bit further down the course to my eye. So all the crews will pick up on that. Less distance. If you can sail less distance, why would you not?
Remember, you need to be in the top 2 of your group. This is Group B with Sweden, Canada, the USA, Australia, Germany, and Great Britain.
And your catch again, Dale.
There we go. So you can see Hannah Mills discussing what the wind's doing. Stuart, the wing trimmer in the middle, hearing his voice a lot there. Dylan and Luke Parkinson, the flight controller. It's constantly evolving situation, so dynamic, each reacting to each other. One move on the wheel, you've got to change the wing. One move on the wing, you've got to change the flight control.
This is leg 4 of 6. Hannah Diamond, we're watching your old team, Emirates GBA, going. I got to think just getting across side to side today in these winds is going to be very tricky.
Yeah, I think all these sailors make it look really easy, but the reality is quite different. The boat is really moving around underneath your feet, so picking your timing, and like Lisa said, minimizing some of those maneuvers, reducing the chance of making a mistake.
Look at this speed. Bond's Flying Ruse approaching gate number 4, still hovering right around 90 kilometers an hour, and they have put some serious distance between them and North Star Canada and the US SailGP team.
You can see they just backed off the speed a little bit before the bottom there. Just gives you that little bit more control for the roundup. Something we heard a lot in training, as we can see a split here in the pack. North Star, what form North Star seem to have found mid-season and on. Very encouraging for them. A little wide on that rounding. Oh, it's a bit loose. Oh, it got very loose. Good save, but that splashdown is going to cost them meters. Really costly on the round up there. But anyway, all dry, all good.
Their driver, two-time Olympic gold medalist in the fin class, Giles Scott, driving for North Star Canada. Did he lose that much time? We'll find out, because on the left side of your screen, you've got the US SailGP team right now, and their driver, Taylor Canfield. Did he get it? Oh, it looks like they're almost dead even in second place. Remember, you need to be top 2 in your group to make it to the 4-boat showdown on Super Sunday.
Yeah, and Todd, this group, let's just take a minute. There's 4 teams in this group that are in that top 5 in the overall standings, and the top 3 are going to race for the $2 million in Abu Dhabi. So there's a lot of pressure on this group. You know, Emirates GBR in 5th. This could be disastrous for their season if they can't sort of chip away over the weekend. Right now, North Star, middle of the screen, looks like they've done pretty well against the US team.
Open track. We got to go to the best Prix. You're not going to the right, no hole.
Okay, so that's what we were thinking there. They're heading towards the right-hand side of the course, as they'd call it. When we're looking up the course, it'd be on the right-hand side of our screen. There you go. So top of the screen there, top left-hand corner, right near the shore, there's a bit less wind. So that is what Canfield, and more importantly, that was Andrew Campbell saying, you know, I don't want to get into that light wind. So tricky decision for the USA team to make right now. Do we do an extra manoeuvre? Oh, Australia, what's happened here? Terrible manoeuvre, but well, as the Bond's Flying Ruse do, they'll resettle the ship, I'm sure.
But they've got 300 meters to play with right now as they approach this penultimate leg here, and then it'll be a dash to the finish. Tight cross there in the center of your screen, Canada and North Star, and it's North Star Canada just turning right in front of the Americans.
Yeah, really tight manoeuvre there. Now they've got to squeeze up. Canfield at the moment is blocking them. Right of way with the North Star team at the minute, but they want to turn more than just a few degrees. They want to turn 90 degrees, and they won't be able to do that without inflicting a bit of an incident on the US team. So tight moment here. Yeah, North Star start to build speed. Critical moment. Bond's Flying Ruse are going to get this done. Don't you worry about that. There go the US team. They're on that blue line. That's the ley line. Should mean they make the next mark, but Canada slow to react to the turn by the US. Match race champion Canfield. Don't mess with him. But has he turned too early? That was only a theoretical ley line. It looked to me like USA might struggle, but Bond's Ruse are going to get it done.
But in race number 1 for Group B, the win goes to the Bond's Flying Ruse as they draw first blood in Sassnitz.
Oh, and the US team did misjudge it. Disaster. They had control of the situation and they trusted their instincts, and their instincts were wrong. They've lost it both at the finish. Disaster. They didn't need to push that ley line so hard. Canada are going to get it done. North Star Canada come across the line in second. And Artemis, well, that was a free point for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the USA trying to get up to speed because they may be in dire position of moving into 5th place, because here comes Emirates GBR, the defending champions, at full speed, close to 70 kilometers an hour, and the US has got to get this thing up to speed to hold on to 4th place, and it looks like they're just going to get it done.
I think they are. They're having to put another board in. Looks like they will just make it on the line. Oh, they'll be kicking themselves about that. Tactically, brilliant upwind leg by the US team there, and then they made a decision thinking they could make that right turn, and they went about 2 seconds too early.
So lessons learned, and how painful of a lesson will that be? We'll find out on Super Sunday, because that is all about being in the top 2 positions in your group. And right now it will be Australia and Canada. Artemis sneaking in for 3rd. The home team, not their best showing. Germany by Deutsche Bank. Eric Kostgart and Heil, the 2-time Olympic bronze medalists, they come in 6th place with 2 more races to go today. As we take it down on the water, Tom Slingsby. Tom, great way to start your campaign here in Sassnitz. How are you finding it? Because last time you were here, you know how tricky and how fast these waters can be.
Yeah, Sassnitz really turns it on for us. It's breeze on, shifty,
but fun. Yeah, I mean, it's really windy. Breeze is sort of a bit patchy. Sometimes it pulses in and you can have a good shot at those speed records, but other times it dies off and you just got to be patient.
Tom, I don't know if it's a bit of age and experience that you're showing, but a lot of speed records had been going in the training. It looked like you were really managing your speed in that race, though.
Yeah, honestly, we happily give away speed records. That's not what we're here to do. If it happens organically, we'll take it, but we're not looking for it.
Tom, appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck in your next 2 races on the day. So the Bonds Flying Roos get it done in Group B. They get the first victory of the day as we are scheduled for 6 races today in Sassnitz, Germany.
And let's take a look back at the start for this first race for Group B. And it was a race of kind of 2 halves in this start section. We had GBR and Germany down at the bottom end of the line, having a bit of a tussle, but ending up really slow, which opened the door for North Star Canada and Bonds Flying Roos to really accelerate in this top-end breeze and take that speed all the way to Mark 1, where there were 2 boats floundering at the back of the fleet. And then it was all about how the boats approached this first downwind leg. We had the leading 2 boats sailing all the way to the boundary with US and Artemis manoeuvring early to try and get an advantage before they came together at gate 2.
So next up, it'll be Group A. You'll have Spain, you'll have Switzerland, New Zealand, France, Denmark, Italy, and Brazil in this one. This is Group A. Again, we started with Group B. The home team, Germany, had the honors, so it'll be BA on the day. We'll go back and forth. Remember, each group, I should say, gets 3 races today, and that's how Saturday will wrap up before we get ready for Super Sunday tomorrow. So Group A, Stevie, this is a case where you pick your poison. It's a bigger group, not as much space, so it's going to be a little tighter, especially getting into that start box and getting a good position. Yeah, really interesting group. We see Los Gallos here, and of course they've won the last 2 events, and they're really starting to challenge back in. They've had a brilliant season other than a couple of events where they had technical issues, and you know, so they're very much the form team. Easy to think it's an easy group for them, then they'll definitely make those top 2 and get through to the final. But when you see the black foils are in this group, the French like it when it's windy, the Swiss team have been on form, ROCKWOOL Denmark have been showing those, you know, those sort of sprouts of return. I think it's quite a tight group, Hannah.
I think it's a really tight, and the other thing that Tom Swingsby was just mentioning there from that first race, the wind is quite unpredictable. There's big shift, big range in the direction it's coming, but also big change in the direction. You've got 27 kilometers an hour to 37 kilometers an hour. There's a huge difference in the way that you have to sail the boat.
Come up quite fast, stay pressing, not racing. Pressing, vamos.
So 27 seconds to go before the start of race 1 for Group A, and look at that, 33 kilometers. That's the wind across the course, Stevie, so we can expect a little spicy racing when they hit Mark 1.
Yeah, it looked pretty spicy on that wind rose, didn't it? Very gusty as well here as we see Switzerland in the middle of the line, well positioned. Black foils look pretty much perfect for our pole position, optimum angle to Mark 1, and they've got the Rolex pole predictor on the top of their wing there. Red Bull Italy coming in fast at the bottom of the line, looking at the timing now. Brilliant swing towards the line by Red Bull Italy and Explorer Swiss, but can the black foils drive out of the middle of the pack and roll over the top? It should be faster angle for the Swiss to Mark 1. Oh, the Swiss have got some heel though, Todd. They got a little bit loose.
I think we're good.
Oh, I mean, they're absolutely hammering.
Look at the contrails coming off those F50s as they approach mark number 1, and the Swiss get around there. It is Sebastian Snyder, the 3-time Olympian, getting it done. On the inside, you have got Pete Burley in the black foils, and look at that speed, almost 95 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, and the black foils held the inside, so they'll push to the edge of the boundary and manoeuvre away. Swiss now have the right of way. They are entitled to manoeuvre, but it's a scrappy manoeuvre on board both those teams. Oh, ROCKWOOL Denmark putting it in the water. Big leap out of the water on board the Danish boat. Well, they've got it back under control. They've had the least practice time, of course, out there today. Los Gallos are at the back of the pack. There we go. We said this was the easy group for the Spanish. Doesn't look it right now.
Butler, Brazil also in the mix. So right now you got New Zealand, Switzerland, Italy, France, Spain, Brazil, and Denmark out on the water. This is Group A, day 1 of the ROCKWOOL Germany Sassnitz Grand Prix.
There we go. Black foils look for that right turn at the bottom. I think it's going to be marginal to make that. I think they're pushing it early as well. When it's gusty and shifty, it's really hard to judge exactly what the angle you're going to have when you approach these gates is. But anyway, I will stop questioning Mr. Burling as he looks like he's got it right.
As they come up on gate number 2, the DP World Gate, this is scheduled for 6 legs, and they spin it around, and there are the black foils out in front. Red Bull Italy decide to break away. They will try for the other side of the course. Explore Swiss and DS Team France will follow the black foils as we check in down on the water with Lisa. Starting to see more white caps, Lisa, is the sea stake becoming an issue?
Yeah, the wind has been pulsing in and out, and the waves are sort of chopping up a little bit, but they're definitely where the F50s are now. That's the waviest part of the race course. The other thing to keep in mind is as the wind is moving around, even in a straight line, it's hard to keep things under control. But I tell you what, I saw that Danish nosedive, and how they saved that, I don't know.
Yeah, they are working against it, Stevie. As you saw, a little late to the party because they had repairs. Let's take you on board and see what it's like for the Danish.
Yeah, well, you can see we're on board the Swiss boat at the moment right now, and you just, as you go to drop the board, so when you go from 3 boards in the water to putting the 4th one down, if you don't have a stable platform or your speed check, look in the background at the Italian boat there, they've got to give way. You can see how high they get. Here we are on board Denmark. There goes the board drop, and instead of getting lift off that board as they'd hope, it just pulled down a little bit. So either the board wasn't quite right, or the wing trim wasn't quite right, or the steering wasn't quite right, but it's all changing so much. Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute roller coaster on these boats out there, and roller coaster wind shift wise as well. As we come back, look at that, nearly sailing straight up the course, and we were talking about how your progress is straight towards the next gate. That's pretty much perfect, Hannah.
Yeah, I think for those boats that took the right turn, they'll be pretty happy. Just one manoeuvre so far, really nice angle all the way up the course, but like we know, the top of this course could be really unpredictable, so what they do next is going to be really important.
So as we watch the black foils continue to progress up there, they've got about a 150-meter lead over Explorer Swiss and DS Team France, a team that loves high-speed winds. There you see the pressure arrows coming across. That's the direction of the wind. And of course, the brighter the arrow, the darker red, the more pressure and more speed you're seeing. And no problem for Peter Burling and the black foils. They just spin around like it's a Sunday walk in the park, Stevie.
Yeah, and what's interesting for me is they've, since their disastrous start to the season, no other way to put it, since they've come back, that they've not looked quite as good as we're perhaps used to, and it's fairly understandable, I'd say. Here we go. Spain are not entitled to go in there. To me, the French own that mark rule-wise. We might see a lead change have to happen there if the French protest that.
This is the umpires. Penalty Spain, not entitled to mark room, go behind France.
The French boat there entered the zone for the mark, indicated by the blue circle, just before the Spanish got on the inside of them. It's really hard to judge. Remember this, we don't take a massive tin of paint and paint these lines and circles on the water out there. So the sailors have to judge it. We get to see it in real time. So it seems obvious to us, but to them, Hannah, I mean, it's happening so fast.
Really quickly, and France managed to fall off the foils in that manoeuvre, so really hard penalty for Spain there.
You see here, we're on board France. They manoeuvre, and because the Spanish are not quite tucked inside when they enter the zone, they're not entitled to dive in there. Had that happened about 10 metres further back, Spain would have been inside, they'd have had the right of way.
Playing devil's advocate, Stevie, if I'm watching at home, where would Spain go? I mean, what other option did they have there?
They had to see it earlier and come up and not go in there. Sometimes you have to anticipate.
So at the other end of the course, it is still the black foils in New Zealand out in front. Their speed's slowing down just a little bit as they get to the DP World Gate. It looks like Explorer Swiss will play the same game and follow them right now with a 14-second lead. It's the Kiwis out in front, the Swiss sitting in second, and then you have Italy, France, and Denmark.
Hannah, of the Swiss, I mean, they're on fire, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they've really stepped it up. I think their consistency across the board has been really so much better than we've seen in the past. They're really proving themselves to be a team to beat now.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't, in the windy stuff, I've never seen it before. So really encouraging for that Swiss team out there at the moment. And to get back to the point with the Kiwis, they've obviously not had any real practice, because there's not any practice anyway in SailGP, and then they've missed most of the season. But just starting to watch some of their manoeuvres, they were always the best team at tacking the boat when they were sort of season winners. They never won the actual final race, but they won the overall season. Their manoeuvring was phenomenal. Look at this. Loose on board ROCKWOOL. And Spain at the back of the fleet.
Spain in 6th place right now.
So it's so hard to overtake now because the wind's rotated a long way round to the left. You can see those teams there like New Zealand nearly sailing straight up the course. Tactically, the only real choice is to do what Brazil's doing and Italy have done, is to come to this side of the course and then sail all the way up the course with only doing one manoeuvre. So really tricky to overtake for those boats in the back of the pack. And as Hannah said, because France actually fell off the foil, that penalty to Spain where they have to get behind France has cost them a lot of distance.
This is leg 5 of 6. It is still the Kiwis out in front. Switzerland sits in second. Let's check in down on the water with Lisa Darman. And Lisa, as we look at Explorer Swiss sitting in second, as Stevie pointed out, they've had a great run as of late. Do you think this is they are just getting used to the boat and their team, or are the Swiss better accustomed to this group racing?
I think this group racing is really suiting the Swiss. I think they used to get tangled up in a little bit of mayhem at the bottom gates, but I think having a bit more clear air, they can just focus on themselves. You know, we saw sparks of magic from that team last season, but they seem to be putting it all together. Talking about shifts, though, we just saw some, so the Black Foils and the Swiss having to do a double tack here to get around this next gate.
All right, so the drama continues on. I don't think they're going to be able to catch them. Just too much room built up on the early part of this race as Peter Burling and the Black Foils of New Zealand look to be in rare form, bringing it home now in race number 1 for Group A, and the victory in Sassnitz on day number 1 will go the way of the Black Foils as they will take first place for Group A on their first of 3 racing. That is the Emirates winning moment.
Yeah, and they look pretty good then. They look fast and they were manoeuvring well.
Just keep boiling.
Yeah, pretty good effort there. But the Swiss really good, and Red Bull Italy as well. They've taken advantage of the Spanish and the French getting tangled up, and the Italians up to third. Italy have had, for me, a pretty underwhelming season. Sort of would expect. You got Carl Langford, 3-time champion wing trimming on board that boat. You know what I mean? Phil Robertson's put in some big results, and it's not quite clear. Jimmy Spittle's the boss. I mean, you're going to think someone's going to crack the whip, but it's going to be him. But this is more of what I'd expect from them, to be really challenging. So let's see if they can put a whole weekend together.
So that's the back of the pack now, the 4 coming in there. Remember, there's 7 boats in this group, 13 in all, so we split it 6 and 7. This is Group A. 3rd place will go to Red Bull Italy. It looks like DS Team France, they will come in and finish on 4th, and now the battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah, tactical advantage with ROCKWOOL Denmark there. Spanish are going to need something special. They've got a real problem with Butler Brazil, so Spain are going to be way out the back of the pack here. Potentially, the team that won the last 2 events are going to finish in last place in this first race. That would be no points for them. And I know it's group racing. I know there's a lot more races to go, but you can't be affording to score 0 points too often.
Stevie, we always said even when you're racing all the teams together, you can have 1 bad race, you can't have 2. Is this Spain's 1 bad race? Obviously can't afford a second one on 2 more races today.
I don't think they can afford another 0 points. I mean, you know, there's a good forecast for the weekend. We look well set to get all the races in, touch wood, and I think, you know, they'd expect to chip away. But yeah, you know, you can't, especially when you've got the Black Foils winning the race, team you'd think are going to do well. You've got Switzerland that made the final the last time out in Great Britain. Well, you know, they know how to deliver a weekend. So suddenly, if you're giving that kind of advantage to a team like the Black Foils, like Explorer Swiss, you know, you've got some catching up to do.
All right, both groups have both raced here in Sassnitz, and we've got a lot of information to unpack. It is an all-on day today with these conditions at the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix Sassnitz.
And it was a little bit of a different story in this start for the first race of Group A. Explorer Swiss had plenty of space at the top of the line just to work out their time and distance and absolutely get their time for their acceleration spot on. They were challenged by the Kiwis all the way, but really fast speeds all the way to Mark 1. Then a really tricky maneuver for everyone getting out towards Gate 2. It was the Black Foils who took that right turn, and a really big left shift meant that they could sail all the way up the course towards Gate 3 there.
Yeah, and I think what we saw was a big shift, but things can still happen in this group race and it can get tight. You can see the French just got into that circle first. They owned it. Costly for the Spanish in that situation, Anna. Hopefully it won't come back to bite them.
So we now can go down on the water. The Black Foils of New Zealand, winners of Group A's race number 1. Peter Burling is their driver. Pete, great job for you. The question is now, how do you capture that magic and do it 2 more times today?
I think you're trying to do the same again, don't you? Actually quite a nice first race. It was quite a bit lighter than the build-up, so it felt nice. Doing an awesome job getting the boat around the track, and yeah, what an awesome day's yachting.
Pete, you know, we see you as one of the most experienced teams, but you've missed a lot of racing this season. Do you just feel like you're starting to find your form as a team again now?
Yeah, exactly. It's so hard to, I suppose, improve the level, and even harder when you're not racing. So I think everyone's done an amazing job making sure we're back, starting to perform more consistently at the right end of the fleet. Hopefully we can put there another few good ones this weekend.
All right, Pete, appreciate your time. Get bundled up, get warm, and you can watch Group B race, and you guys will be back on in just about 10 to 12 minutes. So once again, it's the Black Foils that get the win in Group A, followed by the Swiss, Italy, France, Denmark, Brazil, and Spain. 100% fly time for the Black Foils in race number 1 for Group A.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, we are SailGP.
At the heart of Sassnitz is its Stadthafen, a waterfront shaped by the town's long connection with the Baltic Sea. From boats moving through the harbor to the promenade stretching along the water, it's a place to experience Sassnitz's maritime character up close. With views across the Baltic, a lively waterfront, and the sea always within reach, Stadthafen Sassnitz is a natural starting point for exploring this unique corner of Rügen. Well, it's a beautiful day here in Sassnitz, day number 1 of the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darmena, and Todd Harris with you. We've got 15,000 fans and some serious VIPs and celebrities taking in the racing here in northern Germany, and what a way to start things off. So we turn our attention now back to Group B. Remember, they've already raced 1 race, 2 more still to go, with Australia winning that first race, followed by Canada, Artemis, the US SailGP team, Emirates GBR, and the home team, Germany Deutsche Bank, looking for so much more. So let's take a look now. As we mentioned just on that first race, it was the Australians, the Bons Flying Roos, that took the victory in race number 1. Can they duplicate it? I'm really impressed, Hannah, by North Star Canada. I just think over the last 3 events, they have really risen to the top.
Yeah, they have, and I know they asked some serious questions of themselves at the beginning of this season. They didn't have the start they wanted,
right,
but the last couple of events, they've shown a really big uptick, and they'll definitely be hoping to take that forward to the rest of this weekend.
And I think to your point, Hannah, I think very similar to the Swiss. They like a bit more space.
Yeah.
So coming up on 45 seconds to go, this is the second of 3 races scheduled today for Group B. It'll be Artemis, it'll be North Star Canada, US SailGP team, Bons Flying Roos, Germany by Deutsche Bank, and the reigning champions Emirates GBR still trying to find their footing as Nathan Outridge spins it around and gets Artemis into place. All right, Stevie, here it is. It is the calm before the chaos with 25 seconds before that line goes white.
Yeah, we see our wind rose bottom left-hand corner there, still up around the 32, 33 kilometres an hour. Wind direction is changing a lot, but the crews are dealing with that. Bons Flying Roos, good control on the fleet right now, even though they're a little early back. 10 seconds to go. Rolex Pole Predictor sits on the Brits, but I don't see how they find a way through there. Germany Deutsche Bank well positioned. Now it's time to turn and burn. We've got to head towards the line here. There go the Aussies. They wind it up. Ooh. Slingsby's perfect, and he's going to be so fast out the middle of the line there. It's a drag race towards Mark 1.
I've been getting a little softer here in 2.
Gosh, Brian, there is just us. We're the only ones in this race.
And watch the speeds at the top of the mast as they approach mark number 1 here in race 2 for Group B, and the Big Bear Way led by the green and gold.
Oh, I hoped I'd poke the bear in that interview, Todd, to get him to go for a speed record at Mark 1, but Slingsby again, perfect start, perfectly controlled execution at Mark 1, and they will control things on the first downwind. Outridge on board Artemis, right in behind them there. How well do they execute these first manoeuvres?
So it's Nathan Outeridge and Artemis first to bear away with Germany Deutsche Bank as well. Then comes the Bonsflying Ruse and the US SailGP team. So very well bunched up within 200 meters. There you see North Star Canada not with their best start at the back, and Emirates GBR sits in 5th.
Yeah, and a good wind shift for the Germans there. They found a good puff of breeze, started progressing down the course. So in the last race, the wind had rotated away from the shore. It's now coming back off the shore a lot more. It's what we'd call a right-hand wind shift right now. So good news for Germany, but I'm not sure they'll make the gate in one. Artemis and Australia in a titanic tussle. Artemis have got to keep clear of the Aussies here. Australia are going to make it so difficult for the Swedes. Sweden might end up with an extra couple of manoeuvres here. Flip-flop jibe. Wow, Slingsby pushing the limit there. Tactical racing, just pushed this Swedish team wide. Got control. Well, Outeridge has seen that before, but it doesn't help him. He's parked up at gate 1.
At the DP World Gate, the US SailGP team comes in 3rd, Hannah, followed by Germany Deutsche Bank in 4th.
I just think you can feel the confidence in the Australian boat in these conditions. They're so comfortable, aren't they?
That was wild. I mean, just pushed him out and then just dialed it down so there's no overlap at the mark. Great control. And we can see, look at trying to cross that boat. I mean, you mentioned it, Hannah. It's like, you know, it's just throwing them around on board there, and it's happening at 60 kilometres an hour, you know. Artemis looked like they've steadied the ship in the middle of the fleet there. They had to manoeuvre away early. They have lost distance to the Australians, but they're still ahead of the US at the moment. And of course, what a battle that was in race 1.
Apologies at the moment, not getting information off the mast of Emirates Great Britain, but they currently sit in, looks like 4th place, just ahead of the US SailGP team at the top of your screen. It is all Bonsflying Ruse out in front. Artemis sits in 2nd with Nathan Outeridge. Taylor Canfield for the Americans now sitting on 54, 55 kilometers an hour, but it is all Slingsby magic time.
Yeah, it's just making it look so easy, and they're in a really nice controlling position. It's going to be very hard from a boat, for any boat that splits either side of them, to get round them from here. So I think they'll be pretty happy with where they're positioned right now.
If you look at the top of the wing, I've not seen the Australians any less than 7 kilometres an hour faster than Artemis across there. So, I mean, they are lighting it up. And look how stable the platform is. Given how much the road's shifting and the amount of throttle and potential power you've got, the boat, look how stable it looks. Rock solid. This manoeuvre here.
Just spinning around. Stevie, we talked about the start being so critical and so important. I know Tom Slingsby has lamented the problem with them getting good starts off, but it's more than the start. As Hannah said, there just seems to be so much confidence back on the boat. Remember, this is the Bonsflying Ruse that have won this league 3 times, and they've gone on 3 event burners. So how they look like they're back in that form.
Yeah, they've won it 3 times, but they haven't won it for 2 years. So that's going to start to hurt Tom Slingsby, I'm sure about that. And we've got Emirates GBR, who won it last year. Well, great comeback for them here. Maybe not having that flag on top of their wings helping them, because they've moved right up the fleet at the moment. North Star out the back still. Artemis are going to look to come in. Artemis have the right of way if it's close with Emirates GBR. I think they're clear ahead.
So, Hannah, how far ahead is Emirates GBR, your former team, already deciding where they're going, or is it going to be determined by what Artemis does?
Well, I think you've got to keep an eye on the boats close to you, obviously, but I think definitely today is a day for working out what's the minimum number of manoeuvres you can do to get around the course without falling out of these big pressure situations. So turning right to me is working well, but it's a bit of a gamble because you just don't know if there's going to be any wind on that side of the course.
Now let's find out where the wind is. We go down on the water. Lisa Darman. And Lisa, what has changed between the last race we saw now with Group B back out on the water?
What I think's changed is when the wind does go a little bit further to the right, it becomes more erratic, so more up and down, so it is harder to pick. But this right turn seems to be favoured, all the teams picking that, but it's just the timing of when you go back. Australia picked a really nice one, and so did GBR, so I think they're going to run away with it for this one.
She loves saying that, doesn't she, Stevie?
Yeah, she's definitely never too disappointed when the Australians are winning. Look at the crowds. Wow. I mean, grandstand's absolutely packed and incredible scenery here. They want that German team to start chipping away, moving back up through the fleet. Of course, tricky group for the hometown team, but they did win a race here last year, and this was really the kickstart of their season last year. So Eric Harlow will be keen to get that back up and running. And Emirates GBR, talking about things getting back up and running, they had a bad first race. They need this right there. They really need it.
As they approach gate number 4, the DP World Gate, this is a statement race for the Bonsflying Ruse as they have increased their lead to over 300 meters over 2nd place. Emirates GBR is the champions of last year. Artemis, the new team on the block, sits in 3rd with the US SailGP team. Currently sitting in 4th place. That's also where they are after 8 events, 4th overall on the league standings. But Stevie, this is a team, the Bonsflying Ruse, when they get confidence, when they get that start down, you'd be a fool to bet against him.
Yeah, I mean, right now you can see him sailing towards that dark patch of water. Good breeze on that side of the course. They'll push fairly wide here early on. Early on the course, get wide. Give yourself options further up the racetrack. As we see all boats following into line a little bit here. Obviously feeling that's where the most wind is at the moment. You can just see it coming off there. The US team. I think what's going to be interesting in this group, top 2 go through.
Yep.
We've said that enough times by now. But right now, I feel it's going to be really, really tight for second in this group, because it doesn't look very tight for first at the moment.
Now Australia looks like they're on their way to go 2 for 2, and with one more race still to go, they could almost lock things up on Saturday with 2 more races tomorrow before the Super Sunday event final, as Germany spins it around currently in 5th. North Star Canada really taking a big dip in the Baltic there at that turn.
Wow, they were ploughing the race course right there. Just got a little low on the foil, overloaded it on the roundup, and just dug the front of the boat in. Just digging a hole in the water. That's no good at all. Australia up and running. US team, well, they lost a couple of places in the first race. They're really close. Here we go, Mark 1 to now. That's always interesting, I think. Yeah, Emirates GBR, absolutely crucial. Bad start again, but good comeback through the fleet.
Emirates GBR, Hannah, I don't know if it's too early to say this, but they look like they got their mojo back in this race. There's that sense of spiciness with Dylan Fletcher, Hannah Mills, and the rest of the crew.
Yeah, I think don't underestimate how hard it is on any of these boats. If you get a little bit out of sync, whether it's with the breeze or whether it's with some of your crew work, things are happening so quickly on board that it's very hard to reset. So being able to do that is super important.
Well, there we go.
Ainsley looking on.
Yeah. Team principals there, Ian Percy, Artemis, Ben Ainsley. There's more gold medals in that shot than you'll see in most pictures. You know, so that's some serious experience, but they're all going to be nervous on board.
Sure.
They're all wanting good results. And Emirates GBR, you know, this is a pivotal moment in the season. Then off form, they've got to get it back, and this is just the race they need to get that happening.
They finished 5th in race number 1 for Group B, or Group B, I should say. So a second place would do a huge boost to the confidence with one more race to go, as the penultimate leg is complete for the Bonds Flying Rouge. And just like in race number 1, it is the green and gold screaming down the front straightaway. For the second race in a row, the winners, the Emirates winning moment, belongs to the Bonds Flying Rouge.
Absolutely clinical there.
So now the race is on for positions 2, 3, and 4, and it looks like Emirates GBR is going to hold on. This is a huge performance for Dylan Fletcher and his team as they'll come across with room to spare, with Artemis now finished in 3rd for the second race in a row. So Artemis is going to be in the conversation. Back-to-back 3rd place finishes. Remember, you just need to be in the top 2 of your group to move on to the event final on Super Sunday. And for the USA, Stevie, I think this is an opportunity lost. Remember, they were sitting with a chance at getting 2nd place in the first race. They had to settle for 4th, and they'll settle for 4th again here in race number 2.
Yeah, you know, I think that's sort of maybe the story of their season. They're absolutely in the game nowadays. You know, we're without doubt they've got the potential. They've just got to close things off. I think where I'd be feeling positive for them is that they've struggled for boat speed when it's been windy before, and now they look fast enough. So some little details. Look at the German team, they're hammering in.
So the Germans come across, they will finish in 5th place to go with the 6th they got in the first race. Canada misses out on an opportunity. Remember, they had a 2nd place in race number 1. If they could have placed top 3, that would have been a huge, but as it stands, North Star Canada will cross the line in 6th place. And race 2 for Group B has now come to a completion here on day 1 of the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix Sassnitz. As we head down to the water, Emirates GBR finishing with a top 2 position as we go on board with Dylan Fletcher, and company. Dale, great race by you guys. What was the difference between race 1 and race 2? We apologize, some tech breakup there with our comms with Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR, but they do finish in 2nd to go with the 5th place they got in race number 1. We'll see what they can do in their 3rd and final race coming up shortly.
We did have some smiles on board that British boat though a minute ago, didn't we? And that is a good sign.
And it was the Bonds Flying Rouge who really took control of this start, sailing up high towards the line and then just being able to pick their time where they turned down to accelerate. And as always, that drag race towards Mark 1, they've really set their mark. Their boat looked so solid and confident. This was a really defining point in the race. Bons Flying Rouge and Artemis both having to do a double maneuver before taking that left-hand mark. And you can just see how confident they are in their maneuvering, just being able to walk away from that with a little bit more of a gap. And from there, the race was really theirs.
And no surprise, the Emirates fly time goes the way of the Bons Flying Rouge, winners of the first 2 races in Group B, and they've done it with panache. No problem for Tom Slingsby and his crew as they go back-to-back victories for Group B. So 2 races down, 1 more still to go. No surprise who's at top of the leaderboard. It is the Bons Flying Rouge, winners of both races. Artemis, consistent 3-3. They sit in second, 1 point clear of Emirates GBR that did themselves a solid, finishing in second place. And then the US SailGP team currently sitting in 4th with 2 fourth-place finishes. So that takes us back to Group A. This will be Los Gallos, Spain, Explorer Swiss, Blackfoes, New Zealand, DS Team France, ROCKWOOL, Denmark, Red Bull, Italy, and Mubadala, Brazil. Just to remind you how they finished in race number 1, it was the Blackfoes of New Zealand, Peter Burling's squad that got the win. Explorer Swiss finished in 2nd, Red Bull, Italy in 3rd, with DS Team France 4th, then Denmark, Mubadala, Brazil. The big shocker, Los Gallos, Spain, finishing dead last in 7th.
Yeah, and a team to watch in this race for me is the French team, DS Automobile France. Right now in the overalls, they're 6th. And, you know, a generous pundit, someone like Hannah Diamond, would say they've got a very good chance still to make that grand final in Abu Dhabi if they start knocking in some results. I can kind of actually concur with her on that. But they've got to get a result here. So I feel the pressure's on them. 4th place. If they don't make the final here, that's a problem.
1, 2, 1. Go behind.
So 30 seconds away from the start of race 2 for Group A. The winners of the first race, Blackfoes of New Zealand, are in the box. They have the controlling position right now, but watch France, bottom of your screen, Quentin Delapierre, not afraid to send it.
Yeah, I like where the Spanish are right now, actually, Todd. I think they've got the most control in this situation at the moment. Blackfoes have got to go a bit slow. It's going to be ROCKWOOL, Blackfoes and Spain that wind it up. Rolex Pole Predictor sits on board the French from there, but can they execute? Here go the Blackfoes. They turn towards the line, but they're going to be slower. It's going to be DS Automobile France. We said the pressure was on. Well, there you go. A dip of the hat to Mr. Delapierre. He's absolutely nailed that, and do not expect this French team to put their foot off the pedal all the way to Mark 1.
Before they even reach mark number 1, it is 94 kilometers an hour. And here comes Quentin Delapierre, full gas as he sends it at mark number 1 with the lead here in race number 2.
Yeah, and good control. They're Spanish up in the pack as well. That's good for them. Rolex sprint leader for the French. Italy in a nice position on the inside. They'll have a little bit of control. As the teams enter the boundary, those boats in there are now allowed to move her out. So, New Zealand, the Blackfoils should manoeuvre soon. Don't get a boundary penalty here. Oh, look how close they'll push it to the edge. They're great manoeuvre by the French. They did get a boundary penalty on board the Kiwis. They went too wide. It looked like they pushed it. They're going to have to lose 20 metres here. And we know early on in the race, 20 metres absolutely crucial.
Hey, how do you like the position of Phil Robertson and Red Bull Italy?
Well, I think they manoeuvred early, obviously, but I think they need some more pressure that side or a good wind shift to help them get down to the fleet. I think they'll be happy to sail in a little bit more space. But for me, out of that manoeuvre, it was DS Team France. They really executed well, and they've just stretched out a little bit in front of Spain, which will make this roundup much easier.
At Gate 2, the DP World Gate, it is DS Team France. Quentin Delapierre out in front. Here comes Los Gallos, Spain, and it looks like the other half of the fleet's opting for the other side, led by the Blackfoes of New Zealand, ROCKWOOL, Denmark, and Red Bull Italy.
Well, what a rounding. I think it'd be great to actually get down on the water with Lisa in a moment if we can, because we saw on the last race it was good to go towards the right, but the race before it was good to go towards the left. Lisa, which way's the dice rolling this time?
Oh, it's so hard to call, Stevie. I actually don't mind where the French are at the moment. I think that the time they rounded that was the right call. So I think they're going to come back okay. There's a nice path. I think the shift might play in their favour as well.
Hard to tell. We look at up into the Oracle cloud there. What's it telling us? Well, it's telling us there's a lot more wind where New Zealand are at the moment, so that should be good news for them. Not a bad angle on the Kiwis. French have a pretty good angle as well. It's going to be interesting to see what the wind decides to do when they meet each other. Right of way, DS Automobile France. Looks like the Black Foils have got themselves back in the race. We're going to have a little look back in on the start here as we're on board the French team. Well, he nailed it, didn't he? De La Pierre, he was a little bit back. That gave him a bit more room to accelerate, and he turned the bow away, and then look at the pace towards Mark 1. Hammer down. Los Gallos in above Black Foils. I mean, it must be just full on coming in towards that mark.
And a tip of the cap to the flight controllers, as Stevie said, I'm amazed just at those speeds, how smooth they're able to keep that.
It was the Spanish that lost out there, just losing a bit of distance off the back of the French from that last leg. Now they're back in the pack.
There's DS Team France, your leaders right now. This is leg 3 of 6. This is the second race for Group A, which has Spain, Switzerland, New Zealand, France, Denmark, Italy, and Brazil. Top 2 teams out of the 2 groups moves on to the Super Event Final on Super Sunday.
Oh, they got a little bit high. Oh, I think they've saved it enough. But you see how long they had to keep this board on the left-hand side of the screen down, and we're going to see here, we see that fly time. Fortunately, oh, there you go, just a little high again. Trying to get that line, that fly time line, as a bit of a straighter line. The more it's going up and down, that means the more Jason Saunders is having to do with the controls. Right of way Black Foils here, got to be tight. I think the French cross, yeah. Manon agrees with me. Looks like they're going to be ahead, but the Black Foils, well, they're just working their way back through the fleet. This is quite interesting, Todd. I do really feel this is the Black Foils we saw a year ago.
Yeah, 100% agree. They were known for working their way through, getting a 5th at the start and coming back and getting a top 2 finish. Another tight crossing here, and it looks like Red Bull Italy coming really close to ROCKWOOL.
So tight. Oh, and the Spanish got high, lost the runners. Oh, it's so gusty at the top. Spain are going to take a minute to resettle.
Phil Robertson's going to dive inside.
He will, and he's not allowed to, but because it's not close, no problem. You see, so had the Spanish been able to shut the door, it would have been a problem for Robertson, but they couldn't. Spain are just loose as around the top there. They've totally lost the boat in there. Very, very unlike them. Italy are off the foils. Spain are off the foils. ROCKWOOL Denmark are going to go from 5th to 3rd in the blink of an eye.
Oh, and Spain both holes in the water.
So uncharacteristic. And a boundary penalty. Oh, Explorer Swiss.
What in the world?
Oh, what a move by Schneider there. That was absolutely full noise. Sent it across the front of those 2 boats. I mean, it's just all going on at the top of the course.
There's Martini Grail and Mubadala Brazil. Now they're getting into the mix. So we got 4 boats in the back fighting for positions. Out in front, though, you got DS Team France and New Zealand having their own little battle out of the Baltic. And then a big gap back to 3rd place and ROCKWOOL Denmark.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what plays out down here. Again, great camera angle. You see these dark patches. France are sailing towards a huge gust of wind there, and there looks like quite good wind towards the top of our screen, but it's very variable. It's more consistent on the left-hand side of the screen, away from the shore. Here we go, we're going to come back on board Italy here. So Spain nip across in front of Denmark. The Italians don't think they will. Such a technical manoeuvre. Andrea Terzi, right-hand side flight controller. He's got to try and manage huge changing loads. See the Italians, look at the dip behind there, and then ROCKWOOL throw a manoeuvre in the middle of that. So tight on board, all these manoeuvres. And we see for the Spanish, he then sees a nice way round the Italians, and he's going to get across. I mean, oh wow, it's all changing. They just sneak across in front of ROCKWOOL Denmark there. Well, anyway, the play out of that is the 2 teams at the front are still the 2 teams at the front, but ROCKWOOL have won out well in that, and the Swiss have done very well as well, a 4th. They were out of the points before that. Spain, we were almost, well, maybe just me, almost handing them a place in the final, and now, wow, you've got work to do.
Yeah, Spain currently sits in 5th. Remember, they're the team that's won the back-to-back events here in season 6, but they're in real jeopardy right now of not making it if they don't get into the top 2. Right now, it's New Zealand who won the first race. The Swiss finished 2nd, Italy 3rd, and France 4th in race number 1. And now it is all topsy-turvy. Now, France is in the lead on this race. New Zealand tucked in safely into 2nd place with ROCKWOOL Denmark in 3rd.
Weird manoeuvre by Mubadala Brazil there. They were through the middle of the gate, and then they've done a left turn and sailed an extra 100 metres. Still not clicking on board this Brazilian boat, and we're getting towards a point of the season where we talked about this with USA at exactly this time last season. You know, when do you make changes? Because I hate to say it, but it's not working.
Yeah, Martini Grail, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist and 2-time world champion.
So we want to try and get to like
Yeah, France have got this race locked down here. Black Foils, I mean, they'll be very happy to get a second. They really look like they're on a charge on that upwind, but Delapierre got things settled, and that this is the French team again we remember in a bit of breeze. Remember them in Sydney a few years ago, here last year. They took the win here last year, didn't they? So if any team should be comfortable here, it's them.
They had the big boat incident during practice racing, sent Quentin Delapierre to the hospital to get checked out as he almost folded himself in half on a full e-brake moment, going from about 80 kilometers an hour to 0. And then he comes back on Super Sunday and gets it done and wins the whole event. So fond memories for Quentin Delapierre and DS Team France last year as they won in Sassnitz. Now, are they on the road to getting that done now? They still have to be a top 2 in this group to get into the final.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be enough just to win this race. They need to make sure they're in the top 2 just to make the final for this event. But if they want to make their mark on the grand final, they're going to have to be consistent at the front of the fleet.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they've really got to get there. I mean, what a good race for them. And, you know, Lee McMillan back. First time he's had a proper event for a while.
So Group A's race number 2 goes the way of Le Bleu. The Emirates winning moment goes to DS Team France.
Yeah, solid race for them. Solid race for the Black Foils. ROCKWOOL Denmark needed that as well. So, you know, this group's going to be really, really tight, and Los Gallos have got work to do. I think Black Foils, all right, second place now. They cross the finish line, so it's not the 2 first of the Bonds Flying Rouge. But I think when we actually see the shake-up of the points, the Black Foils are going to be well ahead.
So the top 3 in race number 2 for Group A will be France, New Zealand, and ROCKWOOL Denmark. Remember, race number 1, it was New Zealand, Switzerland, and Italy. Much more racing to carry on here in Sassnitz. So Spain, Stevie, will rebound, and I hate to say this, with a 4th, with the Swiss going from a 2nd to a 5th.
Yeah, I mean, and more importantly, potentially, when we get to the end of play tomorrow, the Spanish went back to last in this race and then have saved a few points. Every point counts on a day or a weekend like this. So the fact they've salvaged something, and then the Swiss were ahead of them, they've lost a point. How much are the Swiss going to rue losing that point? How much is Spain going to love gaining those 2 points? I guess we'll find out tomorrow. And Italy again, you see, we talked about the promise in the race before. A few little mistakes here.
So unfortunately for Brazil, it's a 6th and a 7th to open up Saturday here in Sassnitz. They've got one more race to try to right the ship and get themselves back in the conversation for a spot in the event final. Remember, only 4 boats will compete on the final race on Super Sunday here at the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix Sassnitz, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship.
See that with Badler Brazil, and it's quiet on board there, and understandably, you know, we see the results here, they're right at the bottom.
Yep, Black Foils with a 2nd and a 1st, they go to the top with 9. 7 points for DS Team France. That would be your top 2 right now if we ended racing. Fortunately, we still have 3 more races to go. 1 today, 2 more tomorrow, and then the event final. Explorer Swiss currently sit in 3rd, and ROCKWOOL Racing pick up a big 3rd place as they are in a 4th place overall for Group A.
And we said that DS Team France really needed to step up in this race if they wanted to make their mark on this event and the season as a whole, and that's definitely what they did. They had plenty of space at the bottom of the line to time their acceleration. And it was this race where we were almost 4 wide by the time we got to Mark 1, with everyone pushing really hard to reach the top speeds they could. But it was a split at the bottom of the course, which opened up the space for DS Team France. They took advantage of getting around that mark first, but it was the Black Foils who managed to get ahead of the Spanish at this point, and from there their boat speed really kept them in contention throughout the whole race. Really good win for DS Team France.
So a great victory for the French in race number 2. Their Emirates fly time, a perfect 100%. That'll get it done for the champions of last year here in Sassnitz, on their way to try to back it up here in 2026. All kinds of celebrities and VIPs, including that man on the right. That, of course, being 4-time F1 champion Sebastian Vettel, part of the Cone ownership group for Germany by Deutsche Bank. Thomas Riedel also in the shot, another principal member of the ownership. And there is the CEO of SailGP, Sir Russell Coutts. About a 2.5-hour drive from Berlin, as you will find Sassnitz, and we've got a sold-out crowd here. 15,000 fans expected over the weekend with 1 minute to go before the final race for Group B. Remember, Australia has won both races today. Stevie and Hannah, can anyone mix it up here? Who do you like to take down the Australians here in Group 3.
Well, I think they've certainly put their mark on today's racing so far, haven't they? But I think if Canada can get a good start, I think they can sail really well. And then obviously the Brits managed to sail through the fleet quite well, but the Bons Flying Rouge is certainly the standout team at the moment.
Yeah, full speed, just upwind angle.
30 seconds to go before the third and final race of Group B. There are your current standings. The Australians are perfect. They've won both races. Then you have Artemis, then you have Emirates GBR, and the US SailGP team in fourth. Top two move on to the Super Sunday event final. That's tomorrow later, but we've still got a lot of racing still to go, Stevie. 10 seconds to go.
Yeah, and Germany are well positioned here. North Star Canada have got some control. Rolex pole predicts on Emirates GBR, but they're going to be slow when the gun goes. Has Artemis lined up the slingshot at the bottom? All the teams are slow. Germany, Deutsche Bank out in the middle of the line. Their timing's right and they're first on the foils. How brave are they feeling on board that German boat to drop the hammer? Oh, they wind it up. Look at the speed on the top of the wing. 10 kilometers an hour quicker. They're going to roll over the top of North Star, and it's going to be Germany, Deutsche Bank leading at Mark 1, and they need this. Now we'll find out how quick the Australians are, Todd, because they're back in the pack.
The Rolex sprint leaders goes the way of the home team. Germany by Deutsche Bank with Sebastian Vettel, four-time Formula One champion, in the audience watching his team. And they hit 90 kilometers an hour, and they have the lead with North Star Canada in second, US SailGP in third, Emirates GBR in fourth, and it is the Bons Flying Rouge in fifth.
Well, the Bons Flying Rouge, first indication that Tom Slingsby, when he needs to, is ready to. They hit 101 at Mark 1, so first team over the 100 kilometers an hour mark in racing at Mark 1 here today. But we see the top two teams in this group are 5th and 6th. I mean, that's why you've got to love this racing in SailGP, isn't it? Because it's just anything can happen at any moment in time. But yeah, Germany are well set here. What do you reckon, Hannah? Can anyone keep the Australians behind them?
Well, I think they've put themselves in a nice position that they're in contention with that pack. I think the Brits manoeuvring here, they're going to have right of way as they come back across. They might sweep a number of boats with them towards that right-hand turn.
North Star Canada well positioned, tight in the pack. Artemis are going to have to go beyond here. It's going to be slow at the bottom for that group of 3 boats. USA, Australia and GBR potentially. Artemis followed directly behind. Surprised they've manoeuvred quite there, to be honest. They're going to end up a bit slow as well unless they spin away. Emirates GBR split the course.
At gate 2, the DP World Gate, it's Emirates GBR, the only team. Oh, check that. Artemis looks like they are also going to follow the Bons Flying Rouge. So it's Emirates GBR on their own on the right-hand side as they head up course. We go down on the water and check in with Lisa Darman. And Lisa, we're getting reports of a possible wind shift. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more pressure on the side that majority of the fleet are going to. So I think they're seeking more wind at the moment. I mean, the wind is so changeable, but the other thing that there could be going on down there is when you get a shift, you also get a favoured gate, so you can sail less distance. The only thing that's in Emirates Great Britain's hands is they're sailing their own race right now. They're in clear air, whereas for the bottom 4, they're really fighting it out and all affecting each other.
You can see here on board the US team, and despite the fact the Australians are off to the right, they will still be getting disturbed wind from this US boat. They will have their boat speed affected by the US team, so they're compromised. The only boat not compromised right now is Germany, Deutsche Bank, and well, Eric's doing a good job of making that work for them because they're doing well.
8 lanes here.
I think that's a symptom of there being really only one choice at that mark. When the wind shifts to the left-hand side, that right-hand gate mark becomes quite biased. So it becomes a little bit more follow my leader, which if you're leading is the dream. If you're back in the pack, it's a little bit harder because you have to make the most of the lane that you're in, and it's really hard work.
So Stevie, is this a case where you have to maybe roll the dice and take some chances rather than follow the leader?
It depends early on in the race. We're on board GBR and you just see how tight it got in the pack here. This is coming into gate 2. See there Slingsby, a little look over his shoulder. Get out of the way, Tash, get us up, get us up. They managed to keep the space. I mean, I was surprised the Australians, after taking the right turn, didn't manoeuvre sooner on the upwind leg. So the Australians have ended up sailing a lot of this upwind and disturbed wind. I think they had an opportunity early after gate 2 to manoeuvre. They ended up sticking themselves wide. I was surprised at that, but I don't think you roll the dice per se, Todd, because the right thing to do is the right thing to do.
So the winners of the first two races for Group B have been Australia. The Bonds Flying Roos have dominated, but right now it's the home team. Germany by Deutsche Bank out in front. 3 legs now complete as they will make the turn, and they're going to opt for the left-hand side. So it will be Eric Kostgarten-Heil, the 2-time Olympic bronze medalist in his 3rd season of SailGP, that has the lead as they head downwind.
Yeah, that'll get the fans going. That'll get the fans going. Really good job by the German team. And they're sailing back towards that side of the course. There is more wind there. Potentially going to have to do more manoeuvres going round that mark. So North Star might have a chance to gain a couple of metres on them back here. And it looks like good wind on North Star at the moment.
Giles Scott now in second. His job, try to track down Germany by Deutsche Bank. Can the Canadians get it done? Look at the speeds as Canada now pushing 93, make it 94. Do I hear 95? Yes, I do.
Well, they're going to have the right of way when these boats meet. So I think Germany, they tried to keep things simple at the top, but they've sailed more distance, and they're going really close to boundary there. Top left of the thing, we see who's going to be in the final.
Get a penalty.
Yeah, they went out of bounds. They just didn't get the board drop right. Oh, that's costly. 20 metres lost. Right of way, North Star, Canada. And yeah, we see in the pack, Artemis are last still. So lead change there. Might be still an opportunity for the Germans to get back in it, but they'll be kicking themselves there. Big gust of wind where the Germans are headed right now. They might get all the way down to the mark here in one go if they get that gust of wind. That could be a mistake by North Star. Going to get carted on board Germany, Deutsche Bank now. Look at the angle.
So Germany by Deutsche Bank was in first, dropped back to second, back in first for Eric Kostgarten-Heil, one of the smartest drivers out on the water. Not only is he a doctor, he's a farmer. He can fly these F-50s. Great article by Lisa Darmanin, by the way, at SailGP.com. If you haven't read it, check it out.
Yeah, well, he can't see where the boundaries are, Todd, because he just went out of boundary a minute ago, but he's done a great job of getting back into the race here, and he's leading again, and North Star follow. Fantastic news for Germany, Deutsche Bank. They've managed to pull themselves back in. US team hold on to third. Bonds Flying Roos have some points. Artemis and GBR. This could be a terrible end to their first day of racing here in Sassnitz.
Oh, and the U.S. going around that gate, the DP World Gate, have a bit of an issue. They slow down to 50 kilometers an hour, and now they'll try to build the speed once again, but they've got the great green and gold of Tom Slingsby breathing down their necks. Emirates GBR and Artemis off to the left-hand side. Remember, it's to the top of the course and a right-hand turn to the finish line. The final race of the day for Group B.
Oh, North Star Canada have gone wide on the boundary as well. They're all trying to maximise the width of the course at the bottom to try and give themselves the best chance of minimum manoeuvres. But I also think when it's this gusty and shifty, Hannah, because the boat's so unstable, when you hit the button to drop the board, it can take longer to go on the lock.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think it's really easy because they do so many manoeuvres across the weekend. You kind of get used to your timing. So when things don't quite add up, it can kind of spook the herd on board a little bit, and then those timings just getting a bit out of whack, and that's how you end up with a boundary penalty.
This bottom left.
Yeah, if it stopped right now, the two teams that would move on to the event final would be the Bonds Flying Roos, no question about it, and North Star Canada just 1 point clear of the US SailGP team. Let's go back, Stevie, to that first race where the US had a position. They gave up 2 on the final turn, and that's 2 points.
My dad would always say when I was racing, every point counts. Doesn't matter where you come in, it's still 1 point. So you've got to get them all. North Star, but even this race for Germany, Deutsche Bank, they're right back in the mix to get to the event final with this. They'd only be 2 points off it going into Super Sunday. So fantastic for them. North Star, good control. Tricky move here for Bonds Flying Roos. They will get the right of way on the boundary. US need to do something pretty clever to hold the Bonds Flying Roos off them.
All right, as they make their way to the last gate, it is still Germany by Deutsche Bank. And Lisa Darmanin down the water. Looks like we got rain coming in. How's that going to affect this finale of the race and the next race coming up?
So when this rain moves in, big gusts come through. So for this reach that Germany's going to do to the finish past the crowd, they're going to be absolutely hammering. And then as it passes through, it might drop off a little bit for the next group, and it'll be more tricky and more volatile after the rain.
All right, thank you, Lisa. So it's Germany out in front. It looks like they're going to take the victory, but the battle I'm watching, Stevie, is on the right-hand side. North Star Canada, the USA, and the Bonds Flying Roos, with Emirates GBR screaming in with Artemis as well.
Yeah, and they're both struggling to make it to that final turning mark on USA and Bonds Flying Roos. The Canadian team are putting disturbed wind onto both of them. Right of way was with the British team, and they're going to be close to them. We're going to see Germany bring it across the finish line here.
The Emirates winning moment in Group B on the third and final race of the day goes the way of the home team. Eric Korsgaard and company get it done.
Oh my Lord, everything has happened back in the pack in that moment there. They got so slow on board USA and Bond's flying route. Artemis are going to get back to third. Oh, he must have whispered something nice to the wind there, Nathan Outridge, because he's picked up. Oh, you can hear that. Happy, that was Chris Draper. I know a cheeky laugh like that. Only Draper's got that laugh, and that's because he's gone from 6th to 3rd in the blink of an eye. And the Aussies, they are faultless.
Unbelievable. Look at this. The U.S. looked like they were in position to possibly get 3rd. Emirates GBR slingshots around them. They will grab 4th. The Americans will have to settle for 5th.
Sometimes you get caught in a little battle with 2 boats and it opens the door for another 2 boats. Sweden, well, I mean, you've got to say it's well judged, but sometimes you get given a good hand of cards, and Outridge just played absolute poker.
It's not going to be the performance that Tom Slingsby wants, but remember, they were playing already with 2 victories on the day, so this 6th will not harm them that much. It'll just close the gap for the rest of the field and make the standings in Group B a little more spicy.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, isn't it? That's turned it all on its head. Artemis, he's going to be pretty close to the Aussies now. North Star have put themselves back in it. Every point counts, Todd.
Unbelievable. Teams that have won in Group B have also finished dead last in Group B, and that is going to change things up quite a bit as we get ready to take a look at the Group B standings. Their racing is done for the day, but what a way to finish off Saturday as the home team, Germany by Deutsche Bank, get the win in front of their home fans here in Sassnitz.
Do you know what, Todd? I think the US might be almost last in this group now.
This is going to be tough for them as we take a look at the standings. Here it is, a 1-point lead for the Bonds Flying Roos after finishing in 6th place. Artemis, the most consistent on the day, no question about it. Podium position, 3-3-3 across the board. North Star, if they could have gotten rid of that number 6, they'd be at the top of the boot. And then you've got Emirates GBR coming back nicely. They sit in 4th. Germany Deutsche Bank, they move up with that victory into 5th. And you're right, Stevie, someone slid you an abacus because the U.S. SailGP team, sitting on 2 4th-place finishes, now find themselves in dead last in Group B. Huge crowds on hand here in Sassnitz, nearly 15,000 strong, will turn out over the 2 days to see who will be crowned the champion of this amazing event. Event number 9 here in the 2026 season. This is the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix Sassnitz, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship.
And it was Deutsche Bank Germany who really led from the start here, but also Artemis were able to make most of the gap at the bottom end of the line, and as always that drag race to Mark 1, seeing who could make the most of their boat speed. Germany did an amazing job to lead towards the boundary where that first maneuver was all important. They managed to execute that maneuver really nicely and then put the decision on everyone else at the bottom of this. They made a right turn and really pushed the fleet closer together, and it was only Emirates GBR who chose to sail away and take that left-hand turn at this point.
Yeah, and you just sort of got a little indication of how, when there's a lot of volume and density in the fleet, we see Canada, USA, Australia, they're all slowing each other up. And that was costly on this leg, but when we got to the top of the final leg, oh wow, it went so wrong for the US and Australia.
So it is Germany by Deutsche Bank that gets the win on the 3rd and final race for Group B on Saturday, as we now go on board with their driver, Eric Korsgaard, 2-time Olympic bronze medalist. Eric, if you're not farming and playing doctor, you're doing a pretty good job driving this boat. You guys have made a mess of the standings for Group B, and you've got to have a lot of confidence going into Super Sunday.
To be honest, it was a bad beginning of the day, and that was needed to bring us back in the game. And it was actually the only start well executed. So I think I have to dive into starts tonight again and make some more starts tomorrow possible.
Well, Eric, if I can make you feel any better, I think most of the teams are going to need to have a double check on their starts. Everyone's had a bad one. What does it mean to race in front of the home crowds?
Yeah, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. There are so many people, you know, our friends, family, whole sailing world in Germany is coming here to cheer for us, and we can feel that. It's really cool. The atmosphere is great, and we're really looking forward to tomorrow.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
The next stop for us here at SailGP is Valencia, Spain. It's our first time racing in this beautiful city on the Balearic Sea. Don't want to miss out on this one. You can pick up tickets at sailgp.com, where there's also some great competitions and prizes to be won. So we turn our attention now to Group A. This will be the final race of the day, day one of the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix Sassnitz, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darman, and Todd Harris with you. And about 8,000 of our closest friends have made the journey here to Sassnitz, about 2.5-hour drive from Berlin. As Lisa Darman has reported, a little bit of a squall's come through. We've got rain, and with it the promise of more pressure, and that'll make things even more spicy. Stevie, as we come up on 25 seconds to go, this is the last race for Group A. It has been dominated so far by the Kiwis and the French.
Yeah, we saw in the last start the whole fleet got very close together, a little bit more spread out this time. Black Foils have got a nice bit of space at the top of the line, but they've got to execute from there. Now they're going to have to wind it up on board the Black Foils. Our Rolex Pro Predictor sits on board Los Gallos. We're looking for that line to turn white. Black Foils are going to be late. Swiss look like they're going to get this right. Oh, the Swiss are slow on the foils, though. It's really dropped off in the start box under the land. Top of the line, Contant de la Pierre, well, he's given himself a chance. Now it's hammer time.
Okay, gusto in 2, 1, now.
Ooh, look at the acceleration on board the French boat, but I think it might be too little too late. Los Gallos need a result. They really, really need a result here.
Bearing away in 5, 3, 2, 1, and bearing away.
At Mark 1, the Bearway, the big-time speeds, 100, 105, 106. ROCKWOOL, Denmark, blowing the record, and the French go 107. Are you kidding me?
107, 0-0 though. A little bit too loose on both those boats at Mark 1. They've fallen off the foils. They're struggling to get inside the course there. Wow, that was hectic. We need to see that one back. Big penalty for Spain here, massive penalty. They're going to have to drop probably all the way back, and it's Black Foils that are going to take a big advantage here. Calm and collected on board the Black Foils and on the Swiss team.
I could have missed a number, but it looked like the French hit 107. DS Team France could be the holders of the new speed record in SailGP.
At that speed, Todd, you'd start to get cavitation around the foils, so that's where there's like air bubbles just forming on the foils because of the pressure differential on it, and that would just feel like the whole wheel would be shaking in your hands, bouncing in and out of control as you have water going around it or not. Well, de la Pierre's got it back under control at gate 2.
Talk about driving it like you stole it and then some. That was the Fast and the Furious French version, as Contant de la Pierre, the winners of the last race, looking to make it 2 for 2. He has got the Explorer Swiss team right behind him. Looks like Diego Botín has righted the ship, and Los Gallos will opt for the other side, and the Kiwis will go with them.
Todd, never let anyone say anything about your eyesight. 107.63. Absolutely lit like a Christmas tree. That's over 57 knots in old money for the sailors out there that they like to have it in the old school's way of saying it. Incredible speeds as we see that around there. As we look now, we can...
Explorer Swiss.
Oh, the Explorer Swiss have had a big shocker there. They're really, really slow, and this has opened the door for Los Gallos. And look at the breeze on that side of the course. ROCKWOOL, Denmark going around the outside. They well back in the pack. It's so hard if you get so fast as that. You just they basically skid it out of control. Yep. It's like you're going into a corner in a car too fast. You can, it's all very well. You can make this car go fast, but then it goes wrong. But look at Los Gallos, Hannah. They are right back in it.
Yeah, it looks like what's happened is that the breeze has come up and it's going back down, so it's way more unpredictable than it has been earlier in the day.
Look at this. Oh.
Yeah, it was so fast. So actually the 107.63 was the French. Look how high they are on the foils on ROCKWOOL Denmark. Barely any foil in the water. And the trouble with that is you start pulling air down onto your foil on board the Danish boat and on board the Spanish boat. They get so high that you start sucking air down the sides of the foils there, and the whole thing then will ventilate and let go, and you drop down. So it's the French, de la Pierre, Well, we know he likes to drive it fast, and he's absolutely nailed that right-hand corner screen. Look at this, lead change for the Spanish. There's definitely more wind in the left-hand side of the course at the moment where Spain are headed. So the Spanish are picking this course apart at the moment after a disastrous Mark 1.
Final race of the day. This is Group A that'll wrap things up on Saturday as we go down on the water. Lisa, I don't know if you saw that coming, that speed of 107.6, but was it a shift, or what was the reason for that? Did they just find a hot pocket?
Yeah, there was a big bullet, but because they had ROCKWOOL and Los Gallos, the French had to go super wide, which means they had a real fast angle for the bear away. So it was a perfect recipe for them, and we know Quentin Delapierre likes to push it. But I tell you, as we're approaching this top gate, it's getting really crazy again. So it's going to be tough for these teams to navigate it.
Yeah, she talks about the craziness, Stevie. There's just so much room, and there's 7 teams that are all fighting to get in the top 2 to make it to the event final.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is you see on our leaderboard up there, it says 27 kilometres an hour. Well, that's because that wind reading is coming from quite near the shore. So the wind on the course is very different, because where the Spanish are coming now, you see how dark the water is. It's absolutely hooning out on this side of the course. There is loads of breeze. There's nearly 15 kilometres an hour more wind if you take this left turn here. So the Spanish, well, they fell off the foils, they sailed miles outside the course, they took a penalty. But then, that's how you compose yourself, because they've done a great job of managing to resettle things.
Yeah, and I think if the speed record on its own doesn't get you into the final, so being able to settle the nerves, keep the adrenaline down, lower that heart rate, make good decisions around the course is what's going to be key to winning these races.
It doesn't get you in the final, Steve, but you can walk around town tonight and be like, you know, there's only one team that's gone 107, and you're looking at them.
You're getting a T-shirt printed, aren't you, Todd? That is for sure. You're getting a T-shirt printed. Well, anyway, big moment here as well, because where that more wind was, the Kiwis didn't take it, so they've given themselves a little bit of extra space. They might have a chance to a very good angle on board that Kiwi boat at the moment. They're in a lot of wind. You can see they're hooning down in that big black dark patch of water there. So they will have made a gain on the French. And yeah, we talked about points being absolutely crucial. Well, obviously for Spain it's crucial. France have gone from first to second. So they've got a -1 in this race at the moment. How crucial will that be tomorrow, especially when the team overtaking you is one of the top teams like Spain?
Like 4 of 6 in the final race of the day here in Sassnitz, and it is Los Gallos out in front by nearly 200 meters over DS Team France, the winners of the last race here for Group A. Remember, race number 1 seems like a long time ago. The Kiwis won that, so this could be 3 races, 3 different winners. But for the Spanish, Hannah, this was an absolute must-have. They finished 7th in race 1. They didn't do much better. They finished 4th in race 2, but a first place to wrap the day up will vault them to the top, close to the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't won it yet, but this is definitely much more where we're used to seeing this team in the fleet, and I think they'll just be looking to keep things really nice and simple on the way up to the top of the course again.
And look at this. That would put them on 7 points even with Explorer Swiss. Stevie, you still got the Black Foils and DS Team France, no surprise, at the very top.
Yeah, I mean, I just love how tight both these groups are. I mean, we've got some day ahead of us. We've got some day ahead of us tomorrow. That is for sure. And Los Gallos, I thought it's the first time, I was going to say it in the last race, where I thought they've looked slow today. But now they've refound the wheels, haven't they? Because they're going really fast again. And this is another big gain coming here, because there's just less wind where the French are at the moment. You can see how light the water is. It's not magic. It's not black magic seeing the wind out there. You're looking for the texture differences like we can see from here. Delapierre would have been able to see that. He's rolled the dice, and it just wasn't the time to roll it. Big loss of distance here to the French. Can they hold on to second?
Yeah, I think that's been the change here, hasn't it? The pressure difference across the course has got much more marked, so the strategy is becoming more and more important. It's not just about your straight line speed. You have to pick the right place on the course.
There are the standings right now. Group A event points, and Spain looking to pick up a victory. Again, not doing great to open things up. They finished dead last in race number 1. They moved up to 4th place in race number 2. They are on their way to a possible win, but DS Team France now is closing it down just a little bit. Red Bull Italy, Phil Robertson and company, they are starting to move up. They are currently sitting in 3rd. Looks like they're going to yield a position to the Black Foils of New Zealand, who have just got the right of way, and they now move ahead into 3rd. So Italy goes back to 4th. Jimmy Spithill's squad trying to make some gains here and pick up some valuable points. Explorer Swiss sit in 5th place. And for the Swiss, Stevie, start off with a great race in race number 1, finishing in 2nd. Then they drop back to a 5th. So they're trying to climb the ladder as well. Remember, everyone is trying to be in a top 2 position in their group to make the event final.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's just really tight and mistakes hurt you. We see at the bottom there, 6th place, ROCKWOOL Denmark. I mean, they were 2nd at Mark 1 and they went way over 100, but they got so loose on that moment, fell off the foils, and now they're out of the points. And I really thought they'd sort of been starting to get their wheels back on the bus and starting to look really good. But right now, it's Spain that are the ones that have managed to really find their form out there. They've done a really good job. French have had 2 good ones at the end of the day here. So that Delaperre-Macmillan partnership clearly starting to find itself again. Good angle for the French. Blackfall's going to be consistent. But yeah, what a big day out for both groups.
At the final gate, it will be Los Gallos, the winners of the last 2 events that bring it around the corner, and watch their speed again. Looking for more, 97, 98, dropping it down to 90 cool kilometers per hour. But in the end, the Emirates winning moment goes the way of Los Gallos. Spain win in race 3. What a way to wrap up the racing for Group A.
Sorry about this, fuck-ups. No problem, man. That last tack over there.
Nice job of salvaging the 3rd race, Stevie, as the Kiwis will hold on for 3rd with Italy in 4th.
Yeah, I mean, it was some race, wasn't it? And just so much happened at different points. Spanish and the Kiwis took a good bit of position. We see there the Italians got pushed wide, and the Swiss are going to get a 4th. That's going to be crucial for the Swiss. That point's huge. And Italy, another one they'll be ruining. It's just a little bit of a slip up, no big mistake, but it's another point gone.
So Denmark will grab 6th, and 7th place will belong to the Brazilians and Martini Grail, who finished in last. And so the racing is now complete here on day number 1 of the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix in Sassnitz. It is Los Gallos, the winners of the last 2 events, as they will bring it home. Vamos, as we go down to talk with Diego Botín and company. Got your hands full there, Diego, but tell us the difference between the first 2 races and that 3rd and final race.
We struggled a bit in the first 2 races, getting into some trouble and maybe not sailing the boat in the best potential, but I think we did a good reset and good race for the last one.
Yeah, Diego, I have to say it's the first time in commentary that I think I've said that you looked a bit slow in the first 2 races. Is there any one thing you managed to kind of fix, because you were clearly back to your normal self at the end?
We wouldn't tell you, Stevie, to ask these questions. Come on.
Well, Steve, you got the first smile on the face of Diego Botín, so we wish you guys the best of luck, you and Florian and the rest of the crew. We look forward to seeing you guys on Super Sunday. So Los Gallos will be back. That's one thing they always do, Stevie. They learn on the fly, and then it's dangerous for everyone else. Let's take a look at the highlights now for the 3rd and final race for Group A. New Zealand are winners, France are winners, and Spain are winners.
And there was plenty of action in this last race of the day. Once again, the start very closely contested. It was Spain and France who managed to come out of the start really nicely, with Denmark just in the middle there. But Mark 1 was where all the action happened. We saw 2 boats just get a little bit out of control. 107 kilometers an hour from the French around this mark. They managed to keep their cool and composure to lead all the way down to gate 2. But really top-end racing conditions in this last race of the day.
Take a look at your Emirates fly time. That is keeping the boat up and out of the water. No problem for DS Team France and Content Delaperre, the winners of the last race. But they will finish with a 2nd in race number 3. But they go 100% on the Emirates fly time here on the 3rd and final race of the day for Group A. Let's take a look at the standings as we get ready to say goodbye. It is the Blackfalls and DS Team France leading Group A on 12 and 11 points respectively. Los Gallos just on the outside looking in. And for Group B, it is the Bonds Flying Roos and Artemis top 2 with Emirates GBR and the US SailGP team just on the outside looking in, but 2 more races to go tomorrow before the event final on Super Sunday.
And the Rolex Precision Athletes of the day today. Well, this spread across 4 boats really kind of describes the day to me. We had Sebastian Schneider as the driver, really on top of those starts. Liv Mackay as strategist, Ian Jensen as the wing trimmer on the Bonds Flying Roos, and Andy Maloney, flight controller. Really tricky day for all of the sailors on board. So amazing performance from all of these athletes today.
Well, and if you want to be the ROCKWOOL rock star of the day, you've got to do something pretty special. Content Delaperre left it till the very last minute, and then look at him, clung to the wheel for 107.5 kilometers an hour at Mark 1. What a rock star moment.
And we go back to the first start of the day, and it was Explorer Swiss with the best time start, just 0.309 seconds behind the line. Really impressive start today.
Well, the story of the day has to be the speed record, and officially 107.63, the DP World fastest speed of the day, fastest speed ever in SailGP. So once again, 6 races complete with 5 different winners. We've got ourselves a parody party in Sassnitz as we get you ready for Super Sunday. For Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darman, and I'm Todd Harris. We'll see you tomorrow in Northern Germany. SailGP comes to the port town of Sassnitz, Germany to race on the Baltic Sea in its top-end wind conditions.
Clear start. This is going to be fast. Oh, I mean, they're absolutely hammering. Oh, it got very loose.
The Emirates winning moment goes the way of the home team. 106. ROCKWOOL Denmark blowing the record, and the French go 107. Are you kidding me?